Okay, hello guys. Dito na tayo sa session 2 of Module 6, still on the rights and responsibilities of workers and employers. No? So session 2 is all about the rights and responsibilities under the Labor Code of the Philippines. So ano ba yung mga karapatan at responsibilidad na nakasaad sa ating labor code. So ang labor code, ito yung ating batas na sumasakop sa mga manggagawa at mga employer sa ating bansa. Okay, so narito yung mga key topics and learning points na dapat nating alamin o matutunan dito sa ating session 2. Number 1 is the workers' wages and benefits based on the Philippine labor law. So ano nga ba yung mga sahod, mga benepisyo na dapat matanggap ng isang manggagawa sa ating batas, no? Ayon sa ating batas. And then number 2, the workers and employers' responsibilities based on the Philippine labor law. So ano naman yung mga responsibilidad ng isang manggagawa at employer ayon sa ating batas. Matututunan din natin dito ang mga iba't ibang provision sa ating labor code, no? So narito yung Article 83. So etong Article 83, medyo nabago na yata itong number nito, no? Kasi may mga amendments sa ating labor code. So hindi na ito Article 83 sa ngayon, no? So the normal hours of work. So yung oras ng ating pagtatrabaho, ilan ba ang tamang oras na dapat nating gugulin sa ating trabaho bawat araw? Yan, matututunan natin yan. Dito naman sa Article 139, the minimum employable age. So kung ikaw ba ay minor, hindi ka na ba pwedeng magtrabaho? So tingnan natin yan. And then Article 92, when employer may require work on a rest day. So kung rest day mo ba ay pinatawag ka ng yung boss na kailangang may tapusin, pwede ka bang maghindi? Tingnan natin. Article 95, right to service incentive leave. Ito naman yung leave credits ninyo na naipon sa iyong panunungkulan sa isang taon o higit pa. And then 211, ito naman yung ating declaration of policy. So tingnan natin. Umpisan natin dito sa ating activity 3, the introductory activity of session 2. So there are objectives. Number 1 is to become more familiar with workers' rights and responsibilities based on some provisions of the Labor Code of the Philippines. So kailangan nating maging pamilyar sa mga karapatan at responsibilidad ng isang manggagawa base sa mga provision ng ating batas na Labor Code of the Philippines. And number 2, become familiar with employer's responsibility based on some of the provisions of the Labor Code. Ito naman, dapat maging pamilyar din tayo sa mga responsibilidad ng mga employer ayon o nakasaad sa ating batas na Labor Code of the Philippines. So yan ang mga dapat nating matutunan pagkatapos ng activity na ito. So ito yung inyong first activity. Imagine that you have completed your course and you applied for a job as an encoder in an office and you were hired. Before you start working, it is important for you to know your rights and responsibilities under the Philippine labor law. So halimbawa, nakatapos ka na daw ng pag-aaral mo at nag-apply ka bilang isang encoder sa isang kumpanya at ikaw naman ay natanggap o isang opisina pala. Ngayon, bago ka magsimula sa iyong trabaho, kailangan dapat alamin mo ang iyong mga karapatan at mga responsibilidad na nakasaad sa ating batas. So, ang gagawin mo ngayon, brainstorm a list of the rights and responsibilities you think you will have as an encoder in an office. So, ilista mo dito daw kung ano ba yung mga alam mo na magiging karapatan mo at responsibilidad mo bilang isang encoder doon sa opisina. So, meron tayong mga suggested answer dito. Tignan na lang. Okay, so ito yung mga ilan lang, no? So, number 1 here is the right to compensation or wage. Ito naman yung sahod, no? Siyempre, kung magtatrabaho ka, kailangan mo rin ng sahod, di ba? Alangan naman na libre. So, kung kailangan mo o kung meron kang karapatan sa sahod, ano naman ang iyong responsibilidad? It is my responsibility to perform the job well. Okay, so kailangan mo ring magtrabaho ng maayos sa opisina. Next is try to have a lunch break. Yan, so dapat meron ka ring panahon para kumain ng iyong pananghalian. So kung meron kang right na yan, ano yung responsibilidad? It is my responsibility to be aware and follow the schedules for the break time. So kailangan mong sundin kung ano yung oras lang na nakalaan doon sa yung lunch break. For example, the scheduled time is 12 to 1 p.m. So kung 1 p.m. na, kailangan mo nang magtrabaho. Hindi yung mag-alas 2 na, nagla-lunch break ka pa rin, di ba? So, that is your responsibility. Right to have a rest day in a week. So, meron kang karapatan para sa araw ng pahinga sa isang linggo na pagtatrabaho. So, ngayon meron ka ring responsibilidad dito. For example, pinatawag ka at meron kailangang tapusin, pwede kang i-require din ng iyong boss. So, it is your responsibility to perform the job when need arises, even when during your rest days, no? So, responsibilidad mo rin yon. Mapapag-aralan natin yan mamaya kung bakit. And then, right to have PC for encoding a job. So, ito yung personal lang na right mo, no? Doon sa opisina, wala ito sa ating labor code. So, syempre, kung encoder ka, dapat meron kang computer doon sa opisina. So, ngayon, ano naman ang yung responsibilidad is to take care of the computer. Diba? And then the last one, right to be trained further for the softwares needed for the job. So, kailangan mong, karapatan mo ring matuto ng mga software na gagamitin mo o yung program sa computer na dapat mong malaman para sa trabaho. Ngayon, kung ano naman yung responsibilidad mo kung pagkatapos mong matrain doon sa software. So, it is your responsibility also to apply the skills you have learned from the training in your job. Okay? So, kailangan mong i-apply naman kung ano yung mga natutunan mo doon sa training. So, etong mga sagot na ito ay mga suggested answers lang at pwede kayong magkaroon ng iba pang mga sagot. Ano? So, ito ay basehan lang ninyo. Magkaroon lamang kayo ng mga ideya kung paano ito sasagutin. Okay? Okay. The next activity is to read the statements below that have to do with the rights in the workplace. For each statement, write true or false based on your understanding of the labor laws in the Philippines. If you think it is false, then change the statement to make it true. Okay? So, true or false. Pero kung mali yung statement, hindi mo isusulat ang false. Gawin mo itong tama, no? So, isusulat mo pa rin pala yung false. Sabi dyan kasi is right, true, or false based on that. If you think it is false, change the statement to make it true. Okay. Tignan natin. Okay, so eto na tayo. So, number 1, the Philippine work week consists of 45 hours. Okay, so ayon kasi sa batas, ang oras na gugugulin sa trabaho sa isang araw ay 8 hours, no? Pero ang pagtatrabaho naman dapat 6 days, no? At isang araw lang ang ating rest day. So kung 6 days times 8 hours, the answer is 48 hours sa isang week. So the answer is false. So the correct one is the Philippine work week consists of 48 hours. And then in here, young people under the age of 15 may work if they have their parents' permission. So eto naman, false ito, no? Hindi dahil pinayagan ka ng parent mo ay pwede ka nang magtrabaho. So, meron dapat mas maigting at mas mahigpit na responsibilidad nila. So, ang sagot dyan is false. So, ito yung statement. Young people under the age of 15 may work if work directly under the sole responsibility of his parents or guardian, and his employment does not in any way interfere with his schooling. Okay? And then number 3, employers may require its employees to work even during rest days. That is also true. Makikita natin mamaya. Workers should not get involved in policy decision about his or her rights because the government is the one making those decisions. That is also false. So the answer is workers should be involved in policy decisions about his or her rights. And then number 5, workers are entitled to paid leave at the employer's expense. That is also true. So, tignan natin yan kung bakit true at bakit false ang mga sagot natin dyan. Okay, so now, you can read some of the articles in the Labor Code of the Philippines. Correct your answers above based on what you learn about in the information below. Discuss your answers with your mobile teacher to validate your answers. So, ito yung mga ilan sa mga probisyon na nakalahad sa ating labor code, no? Pero itong bilang ng article, hindi na ito yung kanilang bilang doon sa ating new amended labor code, ano? So, dito Article 83, the normal hours of work. The normal hours of work of employee shall not exceed 8 hours a day. So, dapat ang pagtatrabaho natin ay hindi dapat lagpas sa 8 oras sa isang araw, no? So, kung lumagpas man tayo sa 8 oras, for example, 10 hours, ano ang mangyayari? Entitled tayo sa overtime pay, di ba? Okay. So, 8 hours, tulad ng nasabi ko kanina, 8 hours, pero ang pagtatrabaho ay 6 days. So, 8 times 6 is 48 hours in a week. Article 139, minimum employable age. No child below 15 years of age shall be employed. Walang bata daw na below 15 years of age ay maempleyo sa isang trabaho. Except, meron naman tayong except dito, when he works directly under the sole responsibility of his parents or guardian, and his employment does not in any way interfere with his schooling. Okay? So, kung habang nagtatrabaho siya, nandun yung kanyang parents or guardians na naka-alalay sa kanya. Okay? At saka yung kanyang pag-aaral ay dapat hindi nakakasagabal sa kanyang pag-aaral. So, yan ang requirement ng batas natin. So, 15 years old, pwede ka magtrabaho. Basta't dyan, under the sole responsibility, directly under the sole responsibility of your parents or guardian. Article 92, when employer may require work on rest day. So, kung, di ba sabi ko kanina, 6 days, tas yung 7 day, rest day natin. So, minsan, ang mga boss natin, tinatawag tayo na magtrabaho. Pwede rin yun, no? So, pwede rin nilang gawin yun. The employer may require his employees to work on any day. So, narito yung mga sitwasyon kung saan kailangan nating mag-report kahit rest day natin kung tayo ay pinapatawag ng ating mga boss. So, letter A, in case of actual or impending emergencies caused by serious accident, fire, flood, typhoon, earthquake, epidemic, or disaster or calamity to prevent loss of life and property or imminent danger to public safety. So, kapag merong aksidente, may sunog, may baha, may bagyo, may lindol, epidemya, para maiwasan ang pagkawalan ng buhay at mga ari-arian, no? At kung meron ding panganib sa ating lahat o sa public, may panganib sa kaligtasan ng publiko, no? So pwede tayong tawagin ng ating boss. Okay, so letter B natin ito. Itong letter B. In cases of urgent work to be performed on the machinery, equipment, or installation to avoid serious loss which the employer would otherwise suffer. So, kung kailangan ng serbisyo natin kasi kailangan nating ayusin ang makina o iba pang mga equipment, kailangan nating mag-install doon sa opisina at para maiwasan ang pagkalugi, no? So, kailangan nating mag-report. O, letter C. In the event of abnormal pressure of work due to special circumstances where the employer cannot ordinarily be expected to resort to other measure. So, kung merong mga dapat nating tapusin o kailangang gawin sa opisina at walang ibang solusyon na pwedeng gawin ng isang employer, so pwede pa rin tayong tawagan ng employer, no? And then letter D, to prevent loss or damage to perishable goods. So kung ang ating tinitinda o ang mga product natin ay masisira, halimbawa gulay, kailangan mo nang i-deliver, rest day, ngayon kailangan nang ma-deliver kasi masisira. So, pwede tayong tawagan ng ating boss. Okay. And then letter E, where the nature of the work requires continuous operations and the stoppage of work may result in irreparable injury or loss to the employer. So, kung ang trabaho, ang nature ng work ay kailangan continuous yung operation. Kasi kung mapapahinto, magkakaroon ng matinding pagkalugi ng employer o pagkalugi ng kumpanya. So, kailangan nating mag-report. And then, letter F, under other circumstances analogous or similar to the foregoing as determined by the Secretary of Labor and Employment. So, mga iba pang sitwasyon na nahawig dito sa mga nabanggit, no? As determined by the Secretary of Labor and Employment. Okay? And then Article 211, Declaration of Policy. Ano naman ang sinasabi dito? It is the policy of the state to ensure the participation of workers in the decision and policy-making processes affecting their rights, duties, and welfare. So, ito kanina yung sa taas. Kailangan pa rin ang partisipasyon ng mga manggagawa sa paghubog at pagbuo ng pulisiya o pagdidesisyon tungkol sa mga pulisiya na may kaugnayan sa kanilang karapatan, mga tungkulin at ang kanilang kaligtasan, no? Okay. And then Article 95, right to service incentive leave. Every employee has yung incentive leave. Every employee who has rendered at least 1 year of service shall be entitled to a yearly service incentive leave of 5 days with pay. So, kapag isang taon mo na nanunungkulan sa isang kumpanya, entitled ka sa 5 days na incentive leave with pay. So, pwede kang mag-leave ng 5 days na with pay. Okay, so after 1 year of service. No, kung wala ka pang 1 year, mga 3 months mo pa lang, hindi ka pa entitled dito, no? So, kung mag-absent ka, magli-leave ka, wala kang bayad. At saka kung nagamit mo naman na itong incentive leave na 5 days, nagamit mo na, yung mga susunod na leave mo, wala nang bayad. Okay? So, ganun lang yun. And then, may exemption din yan. This provision shall not apply to those who are already enjoying the benefit herein provided, those enjoying vacation leave with pay of at least 5 days, and those employed in establishments regularly employing less than 10 employees or in an establishments exempted from granting this benefit by the Secretary of Labor and Employment after considering the viability or financial condition of such establishment. So, anong sinasabi dito sa last part? So, hindi ka na daw entitled dito sa 5 days incentive leave kapag meron ka namang 5 days vacation leave with pay. No? At saka, hindi ka rin entitled dito kapag yung pinagtatrabuhan mo ay less than 10 employees lang ang kanyang empleyado. At saka sa mga kumpanya o mga establishment na sa tingin ng Secretary of Labor and Employment hindi kayang bayaran. Yun. Diba? Sinasabi yan. Exempted sila sa pagbibigay ng ganun na incentive leave with pay. Alright, so yan yung mga provisions ng ating batas tungkol sa rights of workers. And then the last part here is sharing is caring. Share the 5 statements with the family and friends and discuss whether they think the statements are true or false. Let them know your responses too. Then show them or share the information provided in the Labor Code of the Philippines to help them understand the laws too.